Hello, this is 48 Hours True Crime. Today I will analyze the man-overboard incident on Disney Dream. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the incident, then offer my analysis. Disney Dream is the third cruise ship operated by Disney Cruise Line. The ship and its sister ship Disney Fantasy are Dreamblast vessels. They are different than Magic and Wonder, the first two ships, which are of the Magic class. They are also different than the waiter ships Wish and Treasure, which are of the Triton class. Disney Dream was put into service in 2011. It is 1,114 feet long. The beam is 121 feet and the height is 217 feet. There are almost 1,500 crew members who work on board. The vessel has 14 passenger decks, 12 50 staterooms, and can accommodate a maximum of 4,000 passengers. My wife and I have been on Disney Dream 4 times. Our first cruise ever was aboard this vessel. We have always found the ship and all Disney cruise ships to be well managed, safe, and enjoyable. No complaints. On June 26, 2025, Disney Dream departed Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on a 4-night cruise to the Bahamas. It visited Nassau on June 27th. The vessel then sailed to Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point on June 28th. This is also in the Bahamas. On June 29, 2025, Disney Dream was sailing back to Florida. This was a sea day, so it was not visiting any ports. On a sea day, it's not unusual for people to wander outside on Deck 4 to take in the view or to walk around. Deck 4 is a public deck which has an open-air area on both the starboard and port sides. This part of the deck is covered with planks forming a track that goes all the way around the ship. A person can make their way out to Deck 4, start walking, and make their way around the entire ship to where they started. 2.5 loops around the ship is 1 mile. Many passengers use this deck for exercise. The lifeboats are suspended above Deck 4 and in an emergency lower to be level with the deck so passengers and crew can board them. There is a small rescue boat on both the starboard and port side forward, and there are other pieces of rescue equipment like life ranks. Deck 4 has chairs where people can sit down and take a break, or for those looking for recreation, shuffleboard is available. To prevent people from going overboard, this deck is protected by a railing that is at least 42 in tall. It has plexiglass panels, so climbing over it would be difficult. Going over the railing, of course, would be inadvisable, mostly because of the dying part. Now, moving to the timeline of the incident. Based on accounts from a few different witnesses, here's what happened on June 29th. 2025 during the day on Disney Dream. Sometime around 11:15 a.m. or 11:30 a.m. depending on the source, a father and his daughter were playing shuffleboard on Deck 4. As I mentioned, this is not an unusual activity. The daughter, who was 5 years old, somehow managed to travel over the railing. The father immediately jumped into the ocean after his daughter. A witness said that she heard an awful scream, which she assumed was the child's mother, and then heard a massive splash. It sounded like something hitting pavement. It's not clear if this witness heard the daughter or the father hitting the water. Over the loudspeaker, passengers heard the announcement, "Mr. Mob," which is code for man overboard. Several crew members threw life preservers overboard so the father could use them, but he was unable to reach any of them. He managed to find his daughter in the ocean and started treading water. Disney Dream, of course, was moving at the time of this incident, so the vessel had to turn around, which it did quickly. A small rescue boat containing 4 crew members was launched. The boat rescued the father and the daughter after the pair had spent about 15 to 20 minutes in the water. The father appeared to be emotional on the way back to the ship. A spokesperson for Disney Cruise Line said, quote, "The crew aboard the Disney Dream swiftly rescued 2 guests from the water. We commend our crew members for their exceptional skills and prompt actions which ensured the safe return of both guests to the ship within minutes. We are committed to the safety and well-being of our guests, and this incident highlights the effectiveness of our safety protocols." Disney Dream returned to Port Everglades as scheduled and departed on its next cruise. Now, moving to my analysis, here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. A cruise ship passenger making a magical journey over the side of a ship does not happen too often, but it is not unheard of. From 2009 to 2019, 212 passengers have gone overboard. During that same time period, millions of passengers managed to stay on board during their cruises. According to the Cruise Lines International Association, man-overboard incidents occur exclusively as a result of intentional or reckless acts. There are no known cases of someone acting responsibly who has accidentally fallen over the railing of a cruise ship. Item number 2. What happened in this particular case of the father and daughter going overboard on Disney Dream? It seems pretty clear that the daughter fell in first and the father jumped in to save her. The mystery is what caused the daughter to go overboard. No official statement regarding the cause has been released, and some of the witness accounts are contradictory. For example, one witness said the girl was sitting on the rail to take a picture when she fell off. A second witness appeared to agree, saying, "I think they were trying to take a picture on the railing." A third witness said the girl was in an area she wasn't supposed to be in and fell into the ocean. And a fourth witness believed the girl simply climbed over the railing and went overboard. There was no mention of trying to take a picture. There is no way to know what happened or who was to blame, but one thing is for certain. It is very difficult to go over a cruise ship railing. I do not believe this happened by accident. Someone was probably doing something they were not supposed to be doing. It is reasonable to believe that the girl climbed on or was placed on the railing. It was a calm day at sea. The boat wasn't violently rocking from side to side. There were no reports of a giant wave washing people off deck 4. I find it impossible to believe the incident occurred without any negligence or recklessness being involved. People may look at the story and think it's easy for a passenger to go overboard, but nothing could be further from the truth. As I mentioned, I have been on Disney Dream 4 times. I have seen the railing on deck 4 in person. It provides plenty of protection, as do all the railings on the vessel. Item number 3. Just like people may overestimate the risk of going overboard based on the story, it's also possible that they might underestimate the danger of going overboard. Again, both the father and daughter were rescued. Maybe some people would look at this and think, "Oh, going overboard is not that dangerous. If it happens to me, a rescue boat will come and get me and everything will be fine. Certainly, no one will die as a result." Unfortunately, most man-overboard incidents do not have a positive outcome. About 80% of people who go overboard do not survive. The outcome in the case of the Disney Dream man-overboard incident should not make people feel complacent. The likely outcome when falling off a ship is death. The Disney Dream incident occurred under ideal conditions and could still have easily resulted in 2 fatalities. There are a lot of factors that could make going overboard even more dangerous. For example, going overboard at night, which would make it more difficult for rescuers to find a victim. Inclement weather can interfere with a rescue. Hypothermia from cold water. The water temperature on the day of this incident was around 83 degrees. But it is not always that warm. Striking a part of the ship on the way down or otherwise being injured from the fall itself. Even from deck 4, the lowest deck where a passenger can get outside, it's a long way down to the water. I would guess somewhere around 40 feet, definitely high enough to cause serious harm. A person going overboard must worry about being struck by a propeller after entering the water and not staying afloat long enough to be rescued. On top of all this, it's worth considering that people sometimes go overboard when the ship is in port instead of at sea. In that case, the victim could land on concrete or on other passengers walking alongside the ship getting ready to enjoy an excursion. In 2019, a girl died after falling 150 feet onto a pier. This occurred on Royal Caribbean's Freedom of the Seas. I have a separate video on that story. It is the Salvatore Annal case. Item number 4. Will the truth ever be known in the case of the Disney Dream man overboard incident? Well, somebody knows the truth. For instance, I am confident that Disney is aware of what happened. Disney cruise ships have cameras everywhere. The mouse is always watching. Considering how this case did not involve a fatality or a ship malfunction, it seems unlikely that a report will be released. There has never been a report released for the notorious case of Rebecca Corarium, a crew member who went missing from Disney Wonder in 2011. If Rebecca's case would not lead to a report, a man overboard case with no fatalities has little chance. I imagine that Disney will conduct an investigation, but I would be surprised if they made it public. So, this case may forever remain a mystery. In another sense, one could argue that there's really not much of a mystery at all. The public may never find out exactly what happened, But it seems pretty clear, as I mentioned, that somebody was doing something they should not have been doing. The lesson learned in this case is that safety rules on cruise ships should be followed. There is no reason to risk turning a dream vacation into a nightmare. Those are my thoughts on the man overboard incident on Disney Dream. Thank you so much for watching.